I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. You know, a number of these right-wing podcasts that just say the most filthy and despicable and angry, hateful type of content out there. A lot of them just have been crossing my feed lately. And so just on Friday, I got these three as I was scrolling down as people tagged me on them. You know, and these are popular right-wing podcasts, and these are the types of things that they're saying. So I got to expose it. I got to show you what some of these things are being said. And the last one actually features a Republican candidate for Congress up in Oregon who said some of the most horrible and horrific stuff, and who reminds me of most of the, you know, Republican candidates out there, fits a certain kind of prototype. But first, let me show you this from Dennis Prager's podcast. You've heard of maybe PragerU, where they try to provide right-wing propaganda to younger people, and they have Prager University and a whole network of this. But this is what Dennis Prager said. He complains about a school sign reading, "The world is a better place because you are in it." And he says, what a stupid message. Plus, it's not true. What has any fifth grader done to have made the world better because he or she is in it? So just going after fifth graders for not making the world a better place and saying that the world is not better for having a fifth grader in it. And these are the people who are trying to speak to the youth. Here, play this clip.
Where is my favorite sign? Yeah, no, that's not it. Damn, I threw it away. That school sign that I saw, schoolroom sign that I saw in the New York Times. The world is better because you are in it. I don't know what grade it was. I assume something like fifth grade. What a stupid message. Plus, it's not true. What has any fifth grader done to have made the world better because he or she is in it? Boy, again, as I pointed out, it's the opposite of the way many of us were raised. If my father had said to me, you know, Dennis, the world is better because you are in it, I would have believed that even though he was never drunk, that he was actually drunk.
And then you may have heard about this one where the radical right-wing host of a Daily Wire show took issue, as lots of the MAGA Republicans do. They take issue with things like this, where it was announced that the new Little Mermaid would be black, and that was incredibly offensive to MAGA and to the radical right Republicans. How dare Little Mermaid be black? And so this was the Daily Wire host saying that it was completely unscientific that there would be a black person cast as a mermaid. Here, play the clip.
All right, Max Winter says, a black actor playing the Little Mermaid really is a case of white erasure. All forms of art, including fairy tales, are meant to be reflections of the author's experiences and observations. Hans Christian Andersen probably based the Little Mermaid based on experiences he went through in his home country of Denmark. So it makes sense that most of his characters would be white, since that's the world and the people he was surrounded by. Yeah, I'm given the way that we deal with these sorts of issues, I'm sympathetic to that. Now, I would be fine, like we talked about yesterday. We don't have to rehash the entire thing, but if we all agreed that race in films and TV shows, especially fictional stories, don't matter, and we're going to take a kind of colorblind casting approach, and it doesn't matter as long as the actor is good. If we could all agree on that, then I'd be on board. And as I said, that's basically what it was for many years, what it was back in the 90s. But what I cannot abide by is the double standard thing where we say, well, the casting in casting matters only for certain races and not for others. No, we're not doing that. Also, by the way, with The Little Mermaid, can we also just mention that just from a scientific perspective, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have someone with darker skin who lives deep in the ocean I mean, if anything, not only should the Little Mermaid be pale, she should actually be translucent. If you look at deep sea creatures, they're like translucent. They have no kind of pigmentation whatsoever. And they're just like these horrifying, they look like skeletons floating around in the ocean. That's what the Little Mermaid should look like. She should be totally pale and skeletal, where you can see her skull through her face. And that would actually be a version of Little Mermaid that I would watch.
You know, the ways that these radical right Republican hosts try to sound intellectual to just justify their base racism is so just so unbelievable. There was so many good Twitter comments in response, though, pointing out fish that live under the sea that are black. Here, just put some of those up, which I just thought were great responses. And then talking about, from a scientific perspective, mermaids must be very pale white. What in the world are you talking about? And why is that an issue? By the way, it's a major issue that they were discussing on their podcast, not like what's going on with the economy, not what's going on with we protecting Social Security. Now, their focus is that, and say it scientifically, it's not possible. Here's the last one that I want to show you, and this is particularly disturbing. And this is a podcast, actually resurfaced. The podcast was from 2018, but it involves Alex Skarlatos, who's a Republican candidate for Congress in Oregon's 4th congressional district. And the podcast he was on, I think it's called like Beer Bros or something like that. Drinkin' Bros is what it's called. And it's a 45-minute discussion where they talk about sex and sex lives. And then the conversation goes into choking in the bedroom. And they start talking about it. And this is what they're talking to Skarlatos about. Have you ever thought if you choke someone and killed them in the bed, what would happen? And then Skarlatos goes, oh yeah, laughing out loud. Here, let me just put a clip of this podcast appearance for you of an individual running for Congress who is joking about choking women and joking about women who were choked to death during sex. Here, I'll play this clip.
Guy who killed that girl because she like suffocated on his dick, he got off in more ways than one. That's why I live in Oregon.
But you have no women there, and you live
Yeah, you
in
have
the middle
no
of
women.
nowhere.
I have there's literally 2 attractive
You
women.
guys-
Is it the more American out you are, the dirty you are in bed? Light choking with an American flag that's in tatters. Okay? That's what America was founded on, right there. America!
That guy who killed that girl because she like suffocated on his dick, he got off in more ways than one. But he wasn't convicted. That's funny though. I'm sorry. That's hilarious.
Oh my!
If you rip her shirt off and she's got the whole Francis Scott Key fucking composition written on her back, you're just
The signing of the Declaration of Independence on her thigh.
Harriet Tubman running across the lower back. Neighbor, release the bald eagle. I'll leave the window open. America. The eagle comes on and just lands on your still hard and just perched there.
It's an American eagle. He's muscular and scary. Drawing blood.
Yeah,
You don't
you're
care
like,
because you're so American.
Yeah.
I mean, as I watched it, I think about, I'm sure you thought about it too, Madison Cawthorn and Matt Gaetz and, all of these, radical MAGA Republicans, that's the image. That's what, this individual, Alex Skarlatos, had previously been quoted to saying that toxic masculinity is a very important thing and we should be promoting toxic masculinity. And this is the individual who the Republicans have running for Congress. That's their person who they want to have in Oregon's 4th congressional district. And so I just wanted to show you that roundup of just what right-wing podcasts are like. And the ones I showed you, as disgusting as they are, I mean, there's far more that wouldn't even be able to be put on this YouTube channel, even as a criticism of it, which it just is because it's just so despicable and disgusting. But we need to shed light. We need to expose what's going on. It's important that we show those clips. I mean, this is someone who's running for Congress, and these are 2 other very vocal voices, the Daily Wire host and Prager, vocal voices in the right-wing movement. This is what they're preaching every day, and it's anger, hate, resentment. misogyny, boom, 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 boom. And that's where you listen to the MeidasTouch podcast, which routinely beats those podcasts on the charts. And why we started the MeidasTouch podcast and Legal AF is just to combat all of that with love and community and talking about how we can make people's lives better and championing people, uplifting people, not mocking people like that. And so check out the MeidasTouch podcast. Check out Legal AF wherever you get your podcast. Podcast network also includes Politics Girl and Mea Culpa podcast, among others. Make sure you hit the subscribe button right now. Hit subscribe right now if you want to support this YouTube channel and support independent media. Also, you can check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Patreon, patreon.com/MeidasTouch is how you can support independent media. We're not funded by billionaires or millionaires, or we have no outside investors. We are supported and fueled by you. We have exclusive benefits and special perks at the Patreon website, but most importantly, you could help grow this network together at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Go ahead and check it out. I'm Ben Meiselas. Until next time, let's keep fighting for our democracy.
This November is Rowvember. MeidasTouch just released its brand new collection of Rowvember t-shirts and pins to let the country know what's at stake this upcoming midterm election. Go to store.MeidasTouch.com to grab yours. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.